Welcome back to the Dota 2 Asia Championships 2018, presented by Perfect World. It is our first day of the main event. The arena is open. We've had the opening ceremony, and we've also had the opening destruction of a Chinese team. Are we going to see the second time in a row in our next matchup? Because these two teams go head-to-head for the first time on the DPC all season. They last played at Star Ladder in February of last year, so pretty irrelevant as far as form is concerned between these two. They have mixed bag in the group stages as well. It's Liquid versus VGJ.Thunder. We welcome back a member of our panel who was on the casting team and rather upset from the first game as well. It's, of course, Kyle joining Winter and Jack. Kyle, welcome back to the panel. If you calmed down after being so frustrated in that second, it was frustrating, wasn't it?
Nothing drives me nuts more than when teams don't seem to have prepped. And if that was their prep, then I just don't know what to say.
It stank, basically. Yeah. We're going to move swiftly on. Hopefully we won't get a repeat of that in this second series.
Indeed.
Liquid versus VGJ. Different roster, completely different roster last year when they played what seemingly felt like 10 games in a row. But it was about 7 games in a row, I think, at Star Ladder. ROTK's got a lot of work to get over. And get one over on Liquid this time, though.
Well, ROTK is not playing this time. We're talking about the last matchup from last year. I remember, again, there was like a mid-anti-mage, very different times. I think that was kind of the start of Liquid's run during that spring when they started winning their first of like 4 Star Ladders or something at the time. Yeah, so it's a bit different. I think there's some eerie similarities between this series and the EG newbie one we just witnessed. Both of these teams, EG and Liquid, are very lane-centric teams when it comes to drafting. They look for abusive lane matchups. EG used to do that and look for scaling. Liquid has always done that with an eye to often end and push early, although they will have a scaling core on Miracle. So I think, EG's moved towards that direction, but they have to be very careful this game. And I think Thunder need to adjust their drafting to be more worried about the lane. Their mid-game execution is better. I think they're a very strong mid-game team, but they have to get there first, which we saw Newbie unable to do in the last series.
Yeah. I would say the key heroes to consider when you're playing against Liquid are always these tower pressuring, like minion cores, I like to call them. Lone Druid, Enchantress, Furion, exactly. And I think if you look at the drafts, Liquid's been running a lot of those with a mix of like maybe Tiny IO they did a couple of times. They had this crazy good Drow strat to finish off the tiebreakers. It was a meaningless game for them, but it was well executed. And I would give them a significant advantage, even if Jack weren't a part of VGJ.
Okay. All right. You're just not giving him beef on purpose.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, that's unlike you. Did you have nice coffee or someone?
I did. I had
good
some
sleep.
I had some great coffee.
Day in the spa yesterday.
Yes, actually.
You've become this calm animal. What's going on?
That's because we got 2 massages yesterday.
Yeah, I heard about this. Double massage. Yeah.
Jack opted for the total relaxation package.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was looking for a little extra release, but I personally just got this nice back
too
massage.
much information.
I got a foot massage. It was fantastic.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you cleaned that up at the end. Winter, Liquid or VGJ.Thunder for you? Form-wise hard, isn't it?
But Liquid does look a bit shaky, or very shaky compared to before. After Miracle took a short break, they played with him a little. It seems like in a lot of their games, I feel like Amir is not on sync with his team, and he's playing all these kind of like very different heroes. I don't know. I think as much as they are favorites, there's still a chance for VGJ.
All right. Okay. Let's get the team intros as we welcome them to the arena.
Welcome on stage, VGJ.Thunder. Welcome on stage, Team Liquid.
Okay, both teams into the arena then. I wonder if this works. Let me try this. Doesn't work. See, I'm not Kuro. I wish I was as cool as Kuro in those. Yeah. I'm just looking for something new in team intros. So rather than, did you ever get fed up with that car when you were taking your picture all the time like this?
Kind of, but at the same time, usually they just give you like the prompt of like, all right, now
do something,
freestyle, do a pose, and you're just like, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
That's why you got. If you go to MDL, last year they had Sumail playing the ukulele and some beach balls and some other things going on. So yeah,
gotta give him props.
Yeah, I think we should. I want to see more intramural sports that we force Dota 2 teams to play. Like, and then you combine content so it makes them happy as well. But just a dodgeball game, BO3, done.
I like it.
That's a media day I can get behind.
Right. Sports.
A lot of finger jamming potential there.
I would say basketball, but we all know how that would end.
Yeah, let's not rib Jack about that. I mean, when you can only jump 1 inch,
fine. He's only been working.
You're at a disadvantage already, really, aren't you?
He's only been working with Jeremy Lin for like a few months. Give it like a few years. Let him really work on his form.
He
his
might
technique,
get to like
his
3
handles.
inches off the ground.
It was the start of his jump. Don't do him dirty like that.
Oh, I thought that was the height.
No.
Oh, I thought it was the top of his jump.
Yeah,
anyway.
If I can't even jump and I'm still lighting it up out there, what happens when I get in shape?
Here it comes. Here it comes. Winter, where were you?
I was in the room playing Dota.
Yeah, you were. Yep. Exactly where I was too.
Yeah, totally unrelated, but I love that the Liquid has a quarterstaff. Because it's like this super uncommon weapon, but believe it or not, it would kick the ass of anybody with a bladed object, like less than the pole axe or the trident.
It's a stick.
It does.
It's a stick.
A stick beats a longsword anytime. All right. Jon Snow would get served by that dude.
Come on now.
100%.
It goes stick, sword, gun. We've all watched Indiana Jones, right?
That's true. That is a good scene. It's funny in that scene. It was actually like not scripted. He was just really tired and bored. So instead of having this extended sword fight, he's just like shoots him and walks off set.
I like the next one because the same thing kind of happens and he goes for the gun and then he realizes like, oh, I don't have one. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about our two teams because they're going to get ready for the draft for series number 2, VGJ.Thunder versus Team Liquid. And we'll start with VGJ.Thunder. Jack, do they have all the tools available to them, both in terms of draft and laning and style and hero choices and meta and players to defeat Liquid in this match?
I think in terms of players, they certainly do. In terms of talent, they certainly do. It's my big question is how much do they come off their drafting style to try to deal more with Liquid? Because, again, Liquid is a team that will, again, sacrifice all synergy or team fight specifically to get abusive lanes. And I think if Thunder doesn't move a little bit off their style, they could meet a very similar fate to Newbie from the previous series. So I think that's the big question mark for me.
If there's one issue with it is they are a bit scripted sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I think RTK is the most important person here. I mean, he's not playing, but
No.
he's gonna decide the direction of the team is taking.
Yeah, we should explain that he's the coach, but he's also the drafter in this team as well.
And I was getting a premonition earlier backstage.
Right.
As the American ROTK, I feel like we've developed a sort of link. And I have this hero, like if their first pick, I see this guy, I don't know how to explain.
Wait,
he's
I'm kind of reading you.
Yeah,
I'm
one
reading you a
hand
little.
is bigger than the other.
Yeah,
he's from
kind of from
a frozen
icy.
an
Right,
icy.
okay, I'm getting icy from you.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
getting
He's
kind
got
of
a beard.
hairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we're
Maybe a
totally in
walrus?
tune. We could we could be soul brothers here, Kyle. This is
It's
incredible.
possible.
Like, we're thinking the same hero at the same time. It's amazing.
I actually think he's going to do something different today.
That's what I thought about Newbie, too, okay?
No.
Yeah,
I was
well, they
ready for a
tried
hype
second
series.
game. They tried second
No,
game.
they didn't. Okay, sure. Yeah, they tried.
They tried
They
to
tried.
do something different.
Yeah,
is
the
my
Naga
point.
first
It
two
didn't
was-
work, but they tried to do something different. How far away from their game plan do they have to go then, VGJ? No, is it like a long way outside their comfort zone, or is it just modifications on what they're doing?
I mean, it might be a long way out of their comfort zone, but you have to modify certain ways because you need to play faster. You can't have the same kind of strategy and play faster because your strat doesn't allow you to play faster. So there's a lot to modify, but at the same time, they have to tailor it to suit their team's play style.
Okay, and Team Liquid, let's talk about them now.
I feel like
Where
they just
are
need to
they?
play well.
Yeah, because they have been playing well, but they didn't look great in the group stages.
I mean, they were doing some weird stuff. They had a game that, the thing is, they would have advanced. They lost a game where they had mid-Rubik, right?
Yep.
And I don't think it was unconventional. It's definitely unconventional, but it's not something they didn't have faith in, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, like they finished third at a minor at Dream League, playing with their coach, all right? I mean, I can't imagine it's like Miracle's got to be just thinking like, damn, they're third place without me. I got to stay on this team forever. Just, can you imagine just taking away one of the best 3 players in the world and still be like they could have been in the finals. Like they beat Fnatic and then lost to them in a series they could have won. Like Fnatic's not a bad team. They're playing with their coach. He didn't even know he was going to play. He got off the plane. He was like, "Oh, I'm in. All right, let's go." And you know what the secret was? Ancient Apparition.
We're back to the same thing again from series number 1.
Yeah. It comes back to the point as well. Does VGJ.Thunder pick all those AA heroes? I mean, the heroes that can abuse AA in the start.
They don't. Fade's a very good roaming for. Again, like Tusk, Earth Spirit, so that might be an interaction to watch out for early in the draft because some teams feel that Earth Spirit is a great answer to the Tusk. But he does not play those jungle heroes either. And so, if you're talking about heroes that both strengthen your lanes and help create abusive matchups, yet still give you some team fight and reach, AA checks all those boxes and is very hard to punish. I think that's just another one of those super important heroes that they cannot just let through without an answer that they prepared for.
It's like the conversation we had a couple days ago about tools, and that's one of those heroes that just gives you so many. The buff to your Ice Vortex, where it now gives move speed as well as decreasing the enemies. Now, like AA used to die a lot more in the laning phase. Now you just drop a W and run away, and it's like Mario Kart. You know, you get what is that the rainbow pad on the ground, and you're just like shoop, and you're gone.
We're bringing out
while
Mario
dropping
analogies
a banana
like
at the
that.
same time.
Oh, was that game before your time, Red Eye?
Yeah, well, it was before. I mean, it was the color version of what we used to have back in the day. You know, it's like
Before
you
his
just
time.
built it out
was
of
like black
cardboard
and white.
glue.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
Like, did you not?
an army man in it and sent it down the street?
Yeah, absolutely. With
Video
string-ons
games.
that you could pull it back up afterwards. See, smart. Let's have a look at our matchup right now. We picked out the mids. Miracle versus Freeze in this particular case. How important are they, Jack? These two players to each team.
Miracle has been something to his performance is something to watch out for. Well, beyond the obvious reasons, because I think that he had a pretty rough group stage at times. In the tiebreakers, it looked like he was, I don't know what was going on there, but I don't know what happened with the break and all that, but he looked a little out of sorts, not like Miracle that we're used to seeing. He seemed to force the issue a lot of times, kind of bring himself and his team out of position. So, I mean, he obviously can play better than that, but I'm not sure what's going on.
I mean, you know what? I think he's playing too many heroes. I think he needs to, maybe narrow down the pool because his play is being affected by something. I'm not sure what. Being away from the team or playing too many different heroes can cause a lot of inconsistency. So I think for him right now is to get back to his form, get back his consistency, and just play well.
Okay. I mean, Kyle, talking of lots of heroes being played, Kuro played his 110th hero in pro play during the group stages, which was a Weaver. He'd also played Pango earlier on. I think it was actually the previous game he played that as well. So he's only got 5 heroes that he hasn't played professionally. That's insane, isn't it?
He's just securing his legacy, all right? He's just ensuring that, when he goes to this TI, maybe he wins this one too.
Right.
He can just quit with like all these accolades. First to 2 TIs, most heroes played, and then he
First
can
to
just
play
go,
all the heroes.
Yeah, and then he just goes back home, like buys a yacht, and stays the hell away from Dota for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Well, he should be able to retire on that, shouldn't he?
One
2
would think.
TIs?
Possibly.
Yeah. pretty close anyway. We're going into our draft. Are we going to see him on hero number 111 here? He's got a bristleback, a Meepo, a Brood.
Not if
Can't see him doing either
not
of
if
those.
he wants to win.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. And a TA.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't underestimate that support Meepo.
nah, I would agree.
That 5-position Brood.
I think that the TA isn't for Kuro, but I think as a hero is still underutilized.
Very
And
underutilized
I
here, isn't it?
really think that that hero is stronger than anyone in this meta is really giving it credit for. I really think it feels like SCA is the only region that really treats
Understands
this
the
hero as like
Yeah.
high power level. It's not something you can pick super early like all these other cores, you know, the Vipers, the Gyros, the DPs, but it's like a Bat Rider where you see 4 heroes of the enemy. This first pick lineup, you got 2 cores to go and you see 4. If they don't have anything to deal with him, he's real strong. And I don't know if we'll see it in this series, but I know VGJ, I think, picked it once or twice over the last couple of months, and we'll see. I think they need something that gives them vision control and tempo against Liquid, because otherwise I fear they might get run over just like Newbie did.
I mean,
Is it one of those heroes that evolves? Is it one of those that, you know, yeah, it looks kind of strong and the theory behind it is right and all the teams kind of talk about it, but it doesn't get used yet, and then somehow it gets broken out in the next tournament
I mean,
and it just gets abused?
he still retains, or she still retains her weaknesses, where if you don't get her a good lane, the hero just falls off.
Sure, but that's why Kyle said you wouldn't pick it first 2, but you 4
Yeah.
or 5 it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And I think the other weakness that she has is you can't really switch things. Like, let's say you're picking in 4, even though it's already like far back enough, but she can only like technically go to mid.
thing is, we actually experimented that a bit
Safe lane
on my
TA.
previous team.
Yeah.
We would scrim and we tried TA safe lane a couple times. And if you get the favorable matchup, I actually don't mind it. I think it's the same concept as like the DPs going safe lane, where mids that used to abuse bottle, like they don't really buy it anymore. So you just pick like lane dominators. They can now go side lane, and if they want to buy a bottle, more of like a puck, I guess. You know, these heroes that can. That's where you would actually be getting runes in the first place, because that's where the bounties are.
Yeah.
So
You can buy it directly from the side
Exactly.
lane too. So
yeah, and it's just really easy. It's one of those heroes that can like farm the hard camp stack too as you level up, like just little things.
Newbie
We've only
used
had
it.
2 TAs so far in the tournament. One was picked by TNC in a win over LGD, and the other one was picked by LGD in a loss over TNC.
Newbie picked TA twice against these guys in Bucharest. I think both games Newbie accomplished what they wanted to early game. You get the Roche control, very quick Roche. You have something that clears Ancients and Snowballs very quickly. You have a lot of kill potential on any lone supports or stragglers. And then the map control you mentioned, like the traps now, they just obliterate creep waves, right? So you can keep people from even pushing out in like a very safe way as well. It's a very annoying hero to deal with.
Yeah, and before we even get this underway, I think the key heroes to look for are the lane dominators, Razor, Tiny, Enchantress. If these heroes aren't banned, I think they'll feature prominently in either team's draft, and then setting up for like Lycan, Furion, maybe a Chen from Liquid. All of these heroes, I think you got to be at least considering if you're VGJ whether to ban or pick.
Yeah. And they must not forget the Brood.
Yeah, sure. You can never forget Broodmother. That's when you do.
I mean, they did.
Yeah.
The Lycan is interesting because it is something that both teams play. I think we saw it like let go against Siler or allowed into the draft. I believe they lost that game for the first time in a while. So it's actually similar. Again, it's like Kaka. They let the Naga through and they start beating it. Teams aren't afraid of it anymore. Maybe they let the Lycan through and feel the same way. I think if you're Thunder, though, I think something like a Nature's Prophet, again, just like an abusive lane hero, is something that they do not want to play against.
There's a first round ban you don't usually see, but you know why.
Yeah. And I think you see Liquid immediately responding with a Razor ban. They might have prepped that, but Veno is the key Razor counter, I think, that Liquid really likes. So the moment they see that going, no more Razor, please.
Okay, Prophet's in the pool.
Yep. Prophet, Tusk, Chen. There's a Tiny but no Wisp, Gyrocopter, AA, Sand King.
10 seconds.
There's so much to choose. It's more like about the game plan, you know, what is the priority here? What do you want against your opponent?
So
Man.
take it away.
It's interesting.
What do you know? That was the first pick we thought about.
It's the philosophy. There's two philosophies when drafting, right? There's banning and deny picking enemy heroes, and then there's also giving them the known comfort and just game planning for it. We saw EG use the other philosophy against Newbie, where they give away Naga twice, and they just don't care, and they're prepped for it. And I personally prefer that style, but you can also do what Liquid's doing here, where especially his first pick, you have this luxury of, does it really matter if you first pick a Tusk or a Sand King, et cetera, et cetera? And this also sets up for their Tusk Ench opening, which is what I think they've felt the best about in this tournament so far.
It's a smart thing for AG to do in their particular game, though, because Newbie were a little bit down on their haunches. They weren't particularly confident, so it was good to give them what they like and then beat them with it and then think, well, have you got anything else?
It's hard to be confident against a team like Liquid, though.
I think this sets up something like a NS Lycan here if Thunder want to run it. This is something, and this is a hero that they play quite a bit. I think more than some of the other Chinese teams do. It's been banned out against them. There is, of course, the Earth Spirit that's like a fade, like most played, very comfortable hero, and again, with that Tusk. But I feel like the Vision could be useful for them, especially when Liquid likes to kind of play split and apply that split lane pressure. You can move around. He's also a strong bullying hero in the early phases of the game. So...
Well, they're taking a lot of time. This is a bad sign.
Yeah.
This is a really, really bad sign.
RTK's done this before. He's come under fire for it before. But I think that they have to be wondering if the Lycan is kind of like a trap.
Okay, I actually like that pick a lot.
Same. That's probably what they were discussing. Because you probably want to take the Tusk, or sorry, the Lycan, the Prophet, okay, or you just you take both. That works too. The downside of this is when you open with it, those heroes are countered by a lot of the exact same heroes, notably like Timbersaw, Underlord. I like Slardar against them both. Any sort of like tanky, heavy wave clear, they need to push onto a tower. There's a Tidehunter there, they don't do anything. It's the same with Timber. It's a lot of these other heroes that you just sit there.
The support position, there's Witch Doctor, there's even Jakiro. There's like a lot of choices.
I would be okay with this opening if they have the option to place the Prophet as a position 5. I think then maybe it would actually decreases some of their weakness. But if they only run Prophet as offlane, then yeah, all the weaknesses that you mentioned
I'm
will be...
hoping with the opener it's got to be a support too.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be.
But have they done it? They haven't done it.
They usually play this with DDC.
Oh, usually?
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's great. That's then it makes a lot of sense to open with these two picks.
I actually don't like the Lone Druid for that reason, because I think Prophet pressures him really hard in lane, and he's a good matchup against Lycan because you can like battle cry through and just have tons of armor through him running at you with his creeps and his ult. But and you root him. You just put your bear on him, he gets rooted, and all of a sudden the Lycan even BKB. And that's the two things that really the Lycan likes, is he wants to be unCCable during his ult, and specifically when he has a BKB. And Lone Druid nullifies both of those with one root.
So the lane has got to be the focus here. They have to be thinking about how do we make sure that the Lone Druid does not get like a free early game. So you want to give him like a good matchup, or place the Prophet onto the Lone Druid's lane so you just harass him as a support.
Could definitely see Enchantress still as an option for Liquid here.
10 seconds.
I think another hero reaching back into the back that they could look very heavily at this game is the Keeper. Again, like you have these tools against the push. You can really pressure that safe lane quite a bit with the +1. Oh, that just got banned, so never mind. I'll stop that diatribe.
I mean, it's pretty much like one team trying to push, and the other team is going to go for more lane dominance and more about trying to win and slow the push so that you get enough items to deal with the push. Or you could, pick some team fight so you deal with the push.
I really like the Liquid first 3 bans. Like the DP Razor specifically. I've seen Sylar win so many games playing those heroes, and they're so versatile, and it sort of covers a lot of VGJ's weaknesses, which is what I'm concerned with their draft even right now, where they have like this dominating mid game and this crazy timing where the first Roche and the first round of core items, like they'll just wipe people out. But how do they get there? And
Sand King.
Yeah. Good pick. It allows them to put a ton of heavy pressure onto Team Liquid's draft. It's really the lanes.
They do use it. Yeah, they do use it in both support and 3 position as well.
This was a complexity special for a couple of months. The Fury and Sand King dual lane offlane.
Yeah.
Really difficult to deal with, but
and you needed something that has control anyway out of this position in the draft, right? So it was probably either this or Disruptor or something.
Actually, like Underlord.
Yep. It's a solid hero.
Yeah, against the Lycan and the Prophet.
And you add in the Sand King. Sand King actually gets crushed by Underlord because if you stand in your pit when he eppies in, he's going to be unable to stun. And you're also a natural pipe builder. And if you look at the lineup of VGJ, their weakness is these team fight items on the enemy side. A Crimson Guard and a pipe. And all of a sudden, who's doing damage?
The summons don't hurt anymore.
Exactly.
And this Prophet can only choose like one lane to go to. I feel like this Prophet has a lot of work to do. He needs to make sure that he chooses the right lane to bully. Like either the Underlord or the Lone Druid has to be having a bad start for them to be able to push, hit this mid-game timing. They go lash, mid-lash?
Possible. I could see this is a good draft from VGJ. I like this little tweak that they've made. I think it's going to be a Lesh core, and I really like the pick. If you look at Liquid, they'd have a difficult time picking a Pugna or a Nyx, which are like your key Lesh counters. They can't really go for a Life Stealer because they've already selected like the Matumba Man and the Mind Control hero. So they really need a GH and a Miracle hero. I'm thinking they might end up with an Earth Spirit, but I look at their draft and I feel like they're just so squishy. They need something to deal with this VGJ Thunder just running at them.
So the last time they played the Lesh, it was a core Lesh on freeze. That was against Virtus Pro, which they lost.
But by the way, going back to the point where the task, I was going to bring it up. The previously Liquid ran one game with GH, and I felt like that didn't work out so well for them because in the past, Kuro was their designated task player, and it worked better for them.
Yep.
So
I think it's more of a 5 as well.
Yeah, it's more of a 5, and you want to give GH maybe like a hero that can scale better, get more farm.
There's not many of those
There's
left.
Rubik though. They have Rubik plus Underlord. I like Rubik with Underlord. And they have a lot of like pretty useful spells to steal.
Yep, I would like Rubik here too. That makes sense to me. I look at the pool of available heroes, and that's the only one that really stands out as both a great matchup and something we know for a fact GH is exceptional with.
There's still a Pugna in the pool as well. I want to see that up against for the core matchup and for a bit of save. And again, the Pugna Underlord combo we've seen run, well, I would say more by newbie. Some of those teams becomes very difficult to kill your frontliner. You can take objectives and siege pretty well, and it gives you a lot of anti-push as well.
I don't think it has enough synergy with their Lone Druid. That's the thing. I like that. I would like that a lot more if there was a Gyro. Okay, now they have a Gyro. Interesting. So
are they going to save GH's hero to last?
I mean, they have to pick next anyway.
now I could actually see a 4 Pugna or 4 Rubik being the way to go because you have this other hero that'll synergize well with like amplified magical damage. Gyro notably deals with the it really doesn't deal with Lycan. You'd think it would with the flak cannon, but Lycan can hit this timing where Gyro's running around with like a Yasha, maybe parts of a BKB. Lycan has a Necro 3 and a level 2 ultimate, and you just crush him.
Yeah. I think late game is okay if you when you have damage and you just BKB and kill the summons.
Yep.
That's what usually teams want to achieve with the Gyro against Lycan matchup. They ban out the Dark Willow. I still think like Rubik is probably the best pick to finish up their lineup. I mean, Dark Willow is still Dark Willow.
I think Thunder just rounds things out with the Witch Doctor, and they're pretty happy with their draft.
You think they'll core the Furion?
10 seconds remaining.
Possibly, but I kind of like.
I think they cored the Sand King.
5 seconds remaining.
You think?
So, the Witch
They have a
Doctor
lot
would
of options though,
Yeah.
but I feel like support Prophet is actually really good this game because you want to make sure the Prophet either destroys the Underlord's lane or you destroy the Lone Druid's lane. I don't see another support being able to do that now.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to suggest for VGJ Thunder as their last pick. Ooh.
Lich for Liquid. Okay.
That is a curveball. I really like the Bat ban because it was already a Dream Bat game. It would have been even worse if they had picked Lich into Bat. And
Lich, so they are going to have this frost armor on buildings to slow the push.
Not only that, it's really good against the Lycan, but the key hero for VGJ is this Leshrac. Because if Leshrac gets out of control, like we've seen Sumail do a couple of times, they have nothing to deal with him.
He has a pretty good lane though if it's a Gyro mid. Lash against Gyro.
But I think they're going to put the Lich there. I think you 100% put the Lich lane against the Leshrac. You put the Underlord against the Lycan, and Lone Druid's just going to suffer. Doom. Really strong. The Doom will actually purge the Lich armor even through BKB. It's a very good lane matchup against Underlord because you do max HP based damage, just run it in with Infernal Blade. You also purge the flak through BKB on Gyro. And when Miracle's playing Gyro, I think that's your biggest priority. And it's a core too, which I really think is the right decision. I like that pick a lot.
Very interesting draft indeed. We've got our first Lich of DAC 2018. Time now, gents, to turn your attention to some predictions. Jack, we'll start with you.
I think Liquid has not been playing the vintage Liquid that we've seen, and I like Thunder's draft in this game. So I'm going with Thunder.
Yeah, I'm kind of also really unsure about Liquid's lineup. The Lich is, I mean, I can see the reason behind the Lich, but I think Thunder is going to have a much more all-rounded draft with, and the Doom pick as well is going to be very, very useful in a lot of scenarios. So I'm going with that.
Okay.
I think if Liquid secures the laning phase, they like win the laning phase, you know, 2,000-3,000 gold advantage by 10 minutes, they'll take the game. But without that in mind, I like VGJ Thunder's draft more. I think that if they play well, they should win this game. They have all the answers.
Okay. A very interesting draft. A very interesting pick as well. A Lich first pick of the tournament for Team Liquid. Is it going to be enough alongside their four brothers to take game one? Let's head inside the arena and find out.
Thank you, Red Eye. Yes, getting ready for this second series of the day. VGJ Thunder versus Team Liquid. I'm Odie Pixel. I'm joined by Fogg. We're just in the draft. We're getting a Lich. I haven't seen this hero in a long time, Fogg. What's up with that?
So I think there's two things that they actually want to do with this Lich, because they have Lich and Underlord. So what that tells me is stall the game, right? So the panelists were talking a lot about how Thunder's draft is very, very fast-paced. They want to be able to just run at them, pressure them a lot, and then get a big advantage and win just because they get like very quick Roshans and just run this game over. Lich, Underlord, these heroes stall the game out, and that's where I think what they need to do. They need to get this Gyrocopter with like Butterfly, BKB, so that he can actually stand and hold his ground versus that Lycan. But yeah, Lich, and then the other thing is it can secure a lane. So depending on where he wants to be, that's going to be really important. If he wants to match up either versus that Leshrac or versus the Lycan, I think they could do it two different ways. Either make sure that the Underlord doesn't get fully zoned, or you just make sure that the Leshrac gets shut down.
But I mean, there must be a reason why. While we don't see every sort of team jumping on the hero, why it has sort of been forgotten. What are sort of the downsides to the Lich that we could see VGJ Thunder expose?
It's just kind of weak. You can just run over it in the laning phase if it doesn't have like the perfect matchup. That's the one thing. Because you don't really contribute a stun. You're just like a slow. Your team fight's kind of weak. Their Chain Frost is really dependent on if it gets good bounces. If it doesn't bounce very well, it's pretty weak.
Well, let's see what we have going on as we get ourselves in.
It has gotten buffed though. So the one thing before about the sacrifice spell in particular was if you use sacrifice and you're using your Frost Blast, you could only get like 1 or 2 off in the laning phase. Now it lets you get many more with that early points in Sacrifice. And he will start mid with Miracle versus the Lycan. They don't know just yet that it's a Lycan, but...
So as you say, with a decision from Thunder to put the Lycan mid, this is what Thunder trying to get the favorable matchups and reading Liquid's plan?
I think he wants to avoid the Underlord.
Yeah. And we'll see how things do stand as indeed Sylar at the moment. We'll have to deal with both Miracle and Kuroki. No support backup for Sylar.
This isn't great for the Lycan though. I think he was expecting the Lich to be top with Underlord.
Of course, those side lanes, as we can see, Matuma man down bottom. We'll be dealing with Yang's Doom and DDC's Nature's Prophet, putting on the pressure.
This is always what a lone Druid safe lane gives you, the liberty to move your supports around, put them in different lanes and pressure. So I think this is going to be a good approach by Liquid.
I'm going to see Fade. Blocked in here by the Ice Shards. Firestorm down as well. Fade getting pretty low here. Quick slow from the Lightning from Freeze will keep GH and Mind Control back, so Fade's able to back up and salve up.
Kuroki getting chased out.
Did start to make a move for his own jungle, but DDC was on the prowl. And let's see how strong the old Lightning Pony is. I mean, it's the panel talked about a hero that we are starting to see sort of being picked up a bit more frequently here at DAC. And Freeze, and this time around, it is that Call Edge. We've seen it in the support capacity a few times, but definitely a hero that seems incredibly versatile at the moment.
Yeah, on the rise. I was hearing a lot of the players talking about this hero at like lunch and breakfast, how it's just spectacular. And the thing is that it can work really well in this game, right? That's what the panel was mentioning too. They really just, from the side of Liquid, they need this Underlord pretty much to get Pipe and Crimson Guard, as we do tend to see, but in this game it's going to be even more important. And Sylar in the mid lane, doing just fine. Lich was forced to rotate around a bit.
Absolutely, the CS. Not too bad at all between himself and Miracle. 8 for 4 against the 6 for 2.
Top lane.
They've got him on control. He's surrounded here. What the stick charges, he is bringing Fade down pretty low, so Fade has to be careful with the Firestorm damage being down upon him. They're poking and prodding at Mind Control. GH is going to head over and provide some backup. Goes for the shards, has blocked Fade in. And with that, GH can start trying to punch into the Sand King. Just like Fade will be able to keep himself behind the tree line. Freeze is still looking to chase down Mind Control. Quick juke and a salve up. Mind Control able to regen up a fair bit of health, but now with 3 heroes here, they're going to go in, but the Sand King falling low. Fade is going to be the first to fall. GH will find first blood. Mind Control does still end up going down. But Liquid are able to get the first kill.
That was very clutch there by My Control, being able to just kind of juke them a couple extra seconds so the salve takes them up higher. And GH being level 2 that early on. And they also, the important thing to point out too is that Freeze, in that whole chase down, expended his whole mana pool as the Leshrac. So that's going to set him back a lot in the laning phase. Sure, they get the kill on My Control, but many resources had to be used.
At bottom lane, Kuroki starting to settle down there to help out Matuma and really keep Doom harassed right back. Spaces there for the lone Druid.
GH just keeping the lane at a better spot so they can't get pressured as hard. Freeze is still low mana though, so it is going to be hard for Thunder to get a kill up top unless someone's very far out of position.
Miracle mid trying to turn up the aggression onto Sylar, but Sylar doing an excellent job at the moment of just making sure that he's not losing out on the farm at all. He's got a homing missile coming his way, but he'll be fine underneath the town with that extra bit of passive regen.
My Control's last hits up top are not the greatest at the moment. 6 and 3 on the Underlord in comparison to that Lesh. Yeah, they're going more for just like pressure with kills.
Back up here, Snowball into DDC. They are looking towards this Nature's Prophet, but Mind Control does have to be pretty careful. He's getting low. Fade coming in, looking for some action. They're trying to turn a right-click. Fade still has the Burrow Strike, goes in. VGJ.Thunder find again the kill onto the Underlord, and now they're trying for more. GH looks to poke him off, but the stun is there from Freeze. With just enough mana to come out with the right-click to Lightning Storm, the slow, the Caustic Finale. VGJ.Thunder punish both of Liquid. This top half of the map all in favor of VGJ.Thunder there.
The Nature's Prophet, just the sheer right clicks with that Bloodstone, with the Blightstone, is enough for them to actually just... Bloodstone.
4-minute Bloodstone, Nature's Prophet. These guys are doing great.
The Blightstone really just making the difference there, though, versus the Underlord.
Bottom lane, trying for Yang. Will go immediately for the TP out after the Suns have been used, but the Savage Roar is there. Matuma able to cancel it, and they will find the kill onto Yang. Mind Control trying to make the pulse, but he has to be careful again. VGJ.Thunder, they're hunting for him. The slow doesn't set up for the stun quite perfectly, but still Fade doing his best with the body blocks, allowing DDC to punch into Mind Control. And this is the third death for him there on that top lane. VGJ.Thunder crushing Liquid's off lane.
A big concern.
Now DDC and Fade ready to get even more mobile across the map.
This is why they did the lane setup, though. That's why they wanted to put the Lycan mid, having that Lesh top. Because if you have a Lycan versus the Underlord, you can start to suffer in those last hits. Because you're a melee hero. That's where Firestorm really starts to punish you. But with the Lesh, you can constantly go for those kill setups with the Sanking rotations.
They're trying to get aggressive here, Liquid, but they do have to be aware that the Fade in the neighborhood, it's a bit of a tricky place for them to go. Miracle is 6, does have the cooldown.
They focus that missile very quickly. Matumba Men will have the Dominator finished up now at the usual 5-minute mark. So they can look to pressure the tower with that first siege wave down bottom. And Doom has to be pretty careful. Mid lane, Sylar gets blocked out.
Look at the cooldown, Snowball, Fade is there, but not a lot he can do to save his Lycan. Ult down from Miracle, they have the burst. Pick up Sylar, bottom lane, a bit of an attempt onto Yang. Quite find the route though, with the Scorched Earth, Yang will be more than fine.
Yang's still, I mean, he's still farming pretty decently on that Doom.
I mean, a lot better than Mind Control, that's for sure.
That is definitely true.
Look at Matuma. Waving in here for DDC, he gets the route, he's got the kill.
They're going for a second as
They
well
are.
now.
If they get another route, they may be able to just find this. Yang does not have Scorched Earth. They're going to look to dive this. Is there going to be any sort of help coming in from Yang's teammates? It doesn't look like it. He'll pop the stick charges. Now a TP comes through, but the route's there. Matuma gets the double kill, but he's so deep. Can he get out of this? Fade and DDC are coming. They're looking towards Kuroki. They're looking for the easier kill, as they will find the Lich, but it looks like Matuma going to be able to get out of this one for free, diving past tier 2s, taking a double kill, and all they'll lose is Kuro's Lich.
Yeah, this Lone Druid is the big key to Liquid's lineup at the moment, and I do like the decision by GH just being like, you know what, this top lane, we actually can't really do too much to help you, My Control. You're going to have to just catch up. I'm going to make moves around the map, because I'm the hero that's going to be setting up the kills. I can threaten mid, I can threaten bottom constantly, but top lane, we're just going to have to let you catch up later on.
You can see that in the individual net worth. Matuma at the top, Miracle just behind, but now creating quite a lead on the Jara in comparison to Sylar's Lycan. Net worth certainly scaling up in favor of Miracle's Jara, who's now being backed up by the Tusk. GH Now hovering around the mid lane just in case anyone comes forward. Fade did come in for a few quick levels.
Siler's still got a pretty decent timing. He's level 6, he's got his Dominator finished too, so he could look to try to threaten that Lone Druid down bottom. That's one of the big things you can always do with the Shapeshift. Get on top of that pesky Lone early on.
Towards GH trying to roll in on this, but Freeze is going to go for a bit of a rundown onto GH. Backups there for the Tusto. Kuro and Mind Control turn up. Can Freeze finish off the kill? He'll try it with the right clicks. He's still chasing. He really wants this, and he does get it. But it's almost certainly going to come at the cost of his life, and not just his own. Fade as well, stuck in the pit. He'll go for the Sandstorm. There's the stun from the Centaur. Liquid will pick up both heroes. After a little bit of a dive too far from Freeze there for the kill on GH.
I bet Mind Control really wanted one of those last hits. He's starting to catch back up though, level 5. Still dwindling a bit on the net worth. All this though, it's enabling a lot for that gyrocopter, and we were talking about is this gyro needs to have a good game, because otherwise you're at threat of just being ran down constantly by Lycan early on.
And we'll say this again, you know, Freeze really felt that he could get away with this one, as the DDC was playing around with the TP in, but I think DDC realized he did not want to be a part of this. This was a bit of a suicide mission from Freeze, as Fade did get baited in there by his teammate.
Thunder, they're trying to make a play on mid lane. They've got the Shapeshift, the level 4 Wolves.
Ready to dive, Sylar. And he goes, chasing down. Can Fade close the gap enough for a Burrow Strike? TPs are coming through.
GH is there too with the snowball, so they can't actually dive for this.
Sylar's in, and then he's straight out. He's like, right, boys, we're out of it. We're not doing this one. And now, Fade potentially in trouble. They've got the snowball. He's already gone for the Snowstormer. Homing missile inbound. He's going to be able to get himself back behind the tier 1 tower, but Liquid, they'll dive forward. And they've got the mass numbers here, as no escape for Fade. Liquid will punish the Sand King.
And during this too, Lone Druid Matu actually just went toward the top lane to try to pressure a bit on the tower. As soon as he saw the Lycan, I believe they also had wards being able to expect that
will
smoke.
go for kills here.
Yeah.
He's got the Troll Summoner. If he can find the route onto Freeze, and a couple of lucky right clicks.
Quite squishy early on.
The Freeze, he's running. He hasn't got a TP available for 13 seconds, so if he needs help, it's got to come soon, and it will do. TP coming forward from Fade. They do have backup, and now they can think about trying to turn. Some mana, of course, on the Lone Druid. Pretty speedy. Fade trying to find the opening Burrow Strike to kick things off, but Freeze, he's being kept to the side. He can't get close. But to a man using the Bear and the Troll Summoner to make sure that Lesh can't close the gap. The Bear is trapped, though. Let me out of it.
He can use return. Look at mid lane, though. The Invis Doom. They could look for something onto Miracle here. And meanwhile, top as well, Freeze, though, is getting pressured.
DDC comes in to back him up. GH coming in from the sidelines. They are going to riff forward onto the Bear as well. Liquid bringing the mass numbers through. They've put the snowball onto Freeze. Freeze gets back towards the tower. DDC will pay. Freeze trying to turn with Fade onto GH. Liquid, they're chasing down. Firestorm out to the two of them. Freeze keeps himself alive just with the stick charges. Goes to the TP out. He will make it. Fade still in a bit of trouble. Burrow Strikes through the tree line. They'll cut their way through. The Bear's hunting and the Bear's finding. They've got the vision onto Fade. Snowball 4 from GH as Liquid diving past the tier 1. And will catch out the Sand King.
Meanwhile, though, the mid lane, that Invis Doom with Sylar's rotation, they kill Miracle as well as get the tower quickly. That was without Shapeshift, too.
Yeah, big kill for VGJ.Thunder, as you can now see Sylar back ahead of Miracle's net worth.
Clutch Invis.
Very close opening to the game so far. 11 minutes in, 10-7. Less than a 1K lead for VGJ.Thunder. As still the only real core being left behind is Mind Control on the Underlord. Still a lot of catching up for him to do. All in all, the fact that there are 3 cores on VGJ.Thunder in a pretty happy place. You sort of had to favor them off the back of this, and Freeze now able to get a serious amount of pushing on down on the bottom lane. DDC's there to back him up as well. It will claim the safe lane tier 1 tower of Liquid.
It's very important for Thunder to get these early towers too, because that's going to give them the access to that Roshan if they can just smoke in there once they start getting the book or a decent pickup.
Oh,
but look at this.
Yeah, they're going to try
to deny it away. With this Underlord, Firestorm is incredibly good versus Roche.
Yeah, 12 minutes in and not incredible items on the lineup, but they're doing it.
Denying a Roche from a Lycan team is always just phenomenal. That hero relies on Aegis in order to just claim that map control.
It looks like Thunder aren't aware of this at all. The warding of Liquid very strong around the pit, as you can see.
That was such a smart move by Liquid.
Let's see what more they can do with it. They do come towards mid, sort of a little bit onto the illusion of a Doom there. But at the least, they've got the creep wave in on the mid lane. They'll put some pressure onto the tier 1 tower. VGJ.Thunder actually 3 members down on the bottom. They could try and put some damage onto the tier 2. See what sort of response they get from Liquid. As Liquid at the moment just showing These four of their heroes on the mid lane as they want to be very open with the fact that they want this mid-tier 1 tower, and they will get it.
The strength of an Underlord lineup is even when if you are like that slight goal disadvantage, if you start grouping up, and especially with what they've got with their tools, with like Lich, Gyro, Underlord, their team fight is just a bit stronger than Thunder at this moment until they start getting more levels. The Slash is very squishy. Sand King doesn't have a Blink Dagger. They don't have a real way to just start the fight on Thunder. The only way is really like Doom running in and just trying to get a Doom, but that's not ideal versus an Underlord.
See Fade as well really wants to try and find somewhere to farm at that Blink Dagger. He's about halfway there, but he is his bottom net worth, of course, on this Sand King. He's having to play sort of the hard support role, as that is definitely sort of where the lacking comes from. VGJ Thunder's getting the farm on their 2 supports. The lanes are pretty scary to head into.
Top lane, though, they look like they're trying to make a go here onto Matumba Man. With that ward, we also see the rotation coming from Freeze and Siler, but it is under vision.
I mean, it's a big kill they could get. He's going to immediately TP out, but they've got the catch. Fade, he's in with the Burrow Strike. Epicenter as well as they look to chase, but the Savage Roll pushes them away. In fact, backup's coming in for Matumba Man. The Rift is there as they'll come forward, and they will actually be able to take down DDC. Mind Control, he's got his friends to rely on as he brings them in to save his buddy Matumba.
And it's a nice combo, right? With the Dark Rift on the Bear, constantly they can try to outnumber, and with that ward they have by the Ancients, they saw the rotation from Thunder coming, so they're like, okay, we can prepare for this. And they were actually smoked when they used that Rift too, so Thunder had no idea it was coming until too late.
A big time as well to keep Matumba Man alive as he is closing in on that Relic. About 3.4k gold on the Lone Druid, very, very close to having that item. Sylar does have an invis, the TP forward from DDC. This would be the perfect time for VGJ Thunder to strike. Go to trap him in the Sprout, quickly cuts himself through with the Quelling Blade. Sylar trying to chase this one down. Quick fear to send the dog to the side for a few moments, but Sylar, the big old wolf, chasing him down.
It's a fast Lone Druid, can they catch him?
He's looking for those crits, he's getting them, and he's got it! 3 in a row it looked like. Sylar, massive pick off for the Lycan to find, taking down Matumba Man, putting that Relic timing on hold.
That was 3 crits, right? He also had the Alpha Wolf as well following him, so that bonus damage.
Look at that. I think that 1300 was literally just 3 swipes. That's a lot of punches there from Sylar.
That was pretty ideal for them. It looked like Matu almost was like about to get away too, because the shapeshift was ending and he had 473 movement speed. And now some deep wards being able to place from that time from Thunder. You see Nature's Prophet ports in and actually places one on that high ground, or actually just walks over.
I'm going to see Mind Control TP up to the top, try and slow down this push from VGJ Thunder.
Liquid trying to strike back here onto Sylar with that ward vision they had on the Ancients.
Let's see what they can do. It's a hard play to make, though. He's right by the shrine. Liquid, got to be careful how they poke around the heroes. Miracle will try and farm up some of the Necro books at least. DDC.
Oh, that was scary.
Very tense game. This is how we like them. 16 minutes in. Both teams with the capacity to make these crucial plays to set back each other's cores.
Liquid really wants to take advantage whenever Shapeshift's down, and they have this Aegis, so they really want to just pressure VG Thunder.
Freeze. It's stunned up behind the tower, but Liquid no interest in diving any further. Sylar, nearly with the money for the level 2 Necro book. Hey, look at that Arcane Rune taken away from him.
I've been seeing this more and more on, in particular, Tusk, just getting that bottle early on. He got it way earlier, but he's been running around trying to look for runes so that he can stay sustained in mana and keep the pressure going. Just not trying to slow the pace down at all. Doom bottom. We'll be going for that rush BKB.
Yeah.
They want to have a secondary frontliner to work with the Lycan.
I mean, who is he looking to Doom in the fights? Is it just going to be Miracle every time, or?
Probably Miracle or the Underlord, yeah.
Because see Matumba Man did manage to find the Relic and is halfway through that recipe.
He just smoked up. Trying to catch Liquid when they're split up, because they do have all this ward vision at the moment. They actually see Lone Druid farming top, Gyrocopter farming jungle. So they know they're split up at the moment. And Mind Control starting to get that recovery. Just like farming by himself. It's got the buckler finished up, going for that mech.
That smoke does get spotted out. Fade comes in to close range of Matumba Man. He has the bear on the high ground. They've got the vision, so Liquid will back away.
Liquid being able to like slow the pace down because they get that first Aegis is really important. It's so crucial for them to get that BKB on the gyrocopter so they can clear out the book from the Lycan. Bottom lane, DDC.
He is going to try for the TP out, and he is actually going to make it. Doesn't cancel anymore. Ult for what? Easy escape there.
House Sanking's Blink Dagger. About 800 gold away. That's when we can see Thunder probably being a little bit more active. Right now they're just playing a little bit more of that farm game. They don't really have the crucial ways to start the fight. They are going to go for a smoke move though. Shapeshift is up. And with this constant ward vision, they are watching all of Liquid.
Or if they could get Matuma Man, the bear heading up first, Matuma Man. He has got that Radiance complete.
Seems to be aware. With GH behind. No one's showing on the map either. Miracle's pushing pretty far up, yep.
They don't have the blink on the Sand King, but they do have the Yule set of Miracle speeding. Immediately creates as much distance as he can. Goes to the TP. DDC's in with a vision, but no way to stop the TP himself. So Miracle will make it away.
They throw a scan. I didn't actually see if the scan caught them earlier when they were making that rotation in. I know that they had like the deep wards down and they didn't see anybody in the lanes, so they were a little bit afraid of that movement from Thunder. Sylar is under ward vision at the moment here. Pops the book 3 on that high ground.
He's by that shrine, so a bit of a hard kill for Liquid to try for. And indeed, they will back away. Looking at Yang of the Doom, he does actually go for the Shadow Blade. Opting for that rather than, well, at least before the BKB.
Yeah. I think they want to be able to make more moves in the game because if Liquid's able to just keep slowing this pace down and take the game later on, that's where their lineup really thrives.
Some big items as well, so the Blink Dagger as well. For Fade. So they have ways to initiate. Here we go with the opening. Kuro will turn with the Ornament, but Sylar with the army chases down. He's found Kuro. Miracle trying to come in and clean up some of the army, but backup's there for Sylar. Yang immediately chasing down. There's a rift onto the bear though, so Yang, he now has to be the one to get out of there, and he's speedy enough with that Scorched Earth drums that he will be able to get himself away from this reaction coming through from Liquid. VGJ.Thunder back up.
That's Shapeshift and Book on cooldown. Liquid can actually play on the aggressive here a bit. With this mech finished up on Underlord just now.
They do have to be a little careful of Fade though.
Blink Sanking,
He's got the smoke, he's got the blink, he has the epicenter, the full combo ready to blow. See if he wants to try and catch anything out. It's going to be hard though with the bear on the front lines.
They're just going to let the bear hit the tower. Miracle has to be careful with his positioning here.
Seeing if they can get that bear out of it. They'll go for the charge. They have found the Pit of Malice. Quick Yule Scepter to dodge the homing missile. Fade, he's coming in, goes for the two-man Burrow Strike, but Liquid, they have the numbers. They've found the kill onto Freeze. They'll find Fade as well as he's trapped in the trees. Standing a little too close there, the two of them, and that was Doom expended.
Perfect shards, and now they might be able to threaten high ground a bit here.
No Leshrac for 40 seconds. No Doom as well. That ultimate expended, so without that, not too much to Yang can offer to these fights. They need his ultimate again, the pit. They're setting up, they're diving in, they've got the snowball, but Yang with the Shadow Blade will be able to keep the distance. They don't have the vision out that deep.
They might just be able to get the racks here with no Doom. No Lycan either.
Yang tries to come in, but a quick Rocket Barrage pushes him back. On the side, Sylar pops the ultimate, turns towards GH, trying to chase him down, but he's been rooted up. The snowball pass over stun catches him as well. Sylar's dead. No Lycan for 50 seconds. Fade, he tried to commit with the epicenter, but it wasn't enough damage to kill off Kuroki, and with that, Liquid, 21 minutes in, they're getting the full set of racks bottom.
And that was pre-Gyro BKB. They just got the perfect opportunities because of the Leshrac moving up too far. The shards from GH just causing havoc. And that's the Shapeshift as well expended in the midst of that fight. And with that Lone Druid, the way that interaction works, it doesn't matter, you just get rooted. Now they get another big set of items. Almost the full pipe coming out from Mind Control. Thunder in a lot of trouble here now.
Liquid really opening up quite a lead there at this stage of the game, taking a set of racks. 5k lead now for the side. Things are going to get a lot harder for Thunder, a team that wanted to play at pretty fast pace, but as it seems, you look at these two lineups, you do not expect necessarily Liquid's 5-man to be the first one to take a set of racks at 22 minutes, but they just did.
Mind Control getting caught back up in the game is so crucial for them, having that mech, that extra sustain, but mostly it was really just the shards in that instance. GH getting a perfect positioning there. catch that safe lane Lesh.
Yeah, both times.
And now they're going to make their way into the Roche pit again. The shapeshift is up in about 2 seconds, but there's no epi for 30. That's their big team fight spell on the side of Thunder.
And it's going to be a free rush.
Yeah.
No way that Thunder come over. They just can't at this stage. Mind control pipe, S and Y miracle. Everything coming together now for Liquid.
The power of this, I mean, the power of Underlord, even when he's so shut down, them being able to get that first Roche has really catapulted them to be in a great position, because Thunder, they were kind of on the back foot. They didn't really want to make all these aggressive plays into the Aegis.
I guess the question is if DDC can sort of have these side lanes hard enough to try and break apart Liquid's 5-man in the middle lane.
I mean, now it's Aegis Cheese, it's Mech Pipe.
This is such a strong push coming out of Liquid. How do Thunder put a stop to this?
They have to get the perfect wraparound from behind. You see Doom is there with the Shadow Blade.
So what they can find, they'll jump in. Nice 2-man epicenter, but the snowball's there. Negates a load of the damage, so Liquid can turn. They take down the Sand King. The Doom has been dropped onto mind control, but he immediately just backs away.
And Freeze was almost dying to the Radiance there as well as Miracle.
Miracle. He's looking for DDC. The homing missile's going to catch onto the Doom. He's going to be able to take down Yang or not. The Shadow Blade. Yang will survive. DDC is also able to TP back. Sylar, can they get him back to base as well? They're trying. Miracle's chasing with the Rocket Barrage. They're looking to try and split up the damage, but they can't. Sylar down for 50 seconds as VGJ.Thunder. They need something big. They're looking for the setup on Miracle after the Aegis, but Miracle will just turn. Look towards Yang. Yang is dead. As they are just crumbling, GG is called, and in that last 5 minutes, a game that seemed to be close was just opened entirely up. Those two aggressive plays from Liquid on that bottom lane paying off massively, as it was just over.
I mean, GH got the perfect shards, but it's really just that 5-man with the Underlord. Even if he got shut down in the laning phase, he got a pretty decent timing for the mech. In that situation too, he gets the pipe. You see him get doomed, and he's like, okay, I'm all right with this. We've got this really strong 5-man.
That absolutely kicked off at the end there, really. It seemed like there was a lot of hope for Thunder early on. As was sort of talked about, we knew that Liquid's draft was looking to slow down Thunder. I don't know if it was necessarily expected from this lineup of Liquid that they were going to play a million times faster than Thunder ever could in this match.
Everything kind of just snowballed and out of control at one point, because they like threw the Doom out, they used the shapeshift, and then they used like the epicenter on the support. And at that point, they have no real other ways to team fight versus this Team Liquid lineup. So they didn't even have like the gyro BKB when they were pushing down that bottom racks, but it didn't matter because Thunder they kind of whiffed their spells a bit there, and Liquid were able to just take advantage of it so heavily, not even really needing any big ultimates. They're just like, okay, we have this Underlord in the front line who's just going to tank the brunt of the force and reduce all your damage.
I mean, talking about the Underlord, it was in the laning stage, mind control, he dies 3 times. After that, doesn't die again. It's one of those heroes that it really seems that's the power of it. Doesn't matter if he suffers early on. He was about 2k behind all the other cores at sort of 5-6 minutes. He still had a massive impact. As you say, the Roshan timing.
Exactly.
The push in the waves.
I think that's the biggest one for me actually is that Roche. When they're able to just sneak in there and they just halt Thunder for like 5 minutes.
Because they got it twice and Thunder didn't contest
and they could not contest at all. And that's because of the Firestorm. Firestorm just allows you to take that Roche so quickly. And when you're playing as a Lycan lineup, you need that first Roche. It's so important for you to keep that pace going. And Liquid denies it.
I absolutely do. Well, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So game 1 of this best of 3 going to Liquid in 24 minutes. The question is, Fog, looking at game 2, can we expect Thunder to try this sort of similar style with the sort of opening of the Nature's Prophet Lycan, or against a team like Liquid, will we see them entirely change it up?
I think they actually did. The thing is, the Lone Druid and Underlord were able to actually just do so much. Yeah. I felt like Thunder maybe their cooldowns were a little bit long, but I felt like they also, their spell usage in the fights was not ideal. It wasn't perfect. Everything kind of was thrown not at the same time. Like usually when you see like these fights, you want everything to be thrown in all in unison. But it was kind of like a Doom comes out and then an Epi comes out. But yeah, they need everything to come out at the same time in order to take these fights versus this heavy pushing lineup that Liquid actually had going after getting 1 big kill.
Absolutely. Now, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. So, game 1 going to Team Liquid. We'll pass it back now to the panel to hear their thoughts about this very quick victory.
Yeah, thanks very much, OD Pixel. Of course, we'll head back to the arena for game number 2, but we will get the thoughts of our panel. We'll start with Kyle. It's kind of like the 3rd game in a row now, isn't it? What's going on?
Oh, well, my prediction, I followed these guys, which is obviously a mistake. But hey, my real mistake was I didn't recognize that Liquid's draft actually would get to a point where they didn't fear the damage output of VGJ. The Lesh was essentially all the spell damage that the entire draft could come up with, and once he's either out of the fight or nullified, like, how do you kill Lone Druid and Gyro? And I also underestimated the mobility, where they're just Underlord TPing into the bear. They laned well, and the Lich made them so survivable against the damage output of, like, a Lycan. Even the laning phase, like, they just slowed the game down, got their core items, and all of a sudden they hit this tempo, and VGJ just doesn't have damage anymore. And
couldn't do anything.
They didn't have the catch either.
The odd thing is none of you particularly liked the Lich pick, but it was fine.
That's why we're here. They're playing, you know. I mean, we don't understand, so we need to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But then again, I felt like the Sand King getting such a late blink that had a lot to do with the lack of catch, them being unable to. You know, there were so many fights where Sylar was playing so well. He was running in with this Lycan, but there was no stuns for him. But he still managed to kill the Lone Druid in one occasion. He chased him all the way to the tier 2. But I was talking to Jack a little bit about how they prioritize giving the Prophet more farm over the Sand King, which was, I'm not sure if it was the best idea for them, because Sand King had like a 20-minute blink. This was the first fight with the blink.
This fight also is where Liquid kind of just took the game. The Arcane Rune Tusk, they get a couple of kills, they immediately go to start pressuring tier 3, and once you have a Lone Druid that's this strong, like, this is the part of the game. Like, he hits this huge epi, there's the Blink Snowball save, it actually gets the Furion ult as well, and, like, where's the damage now? They doom the Underlord, but it's like, what now? There's nothing else that they fear. Lich Armor in the back pops his ult on Sylar's Lycan, and he just has to run. He's a puppy.
Yeah, lanes into Death Ball. Again, this is a signature style for Liquid. In this case, if you don't have enough playmaking to really punish that and to get into the team fights that you want, as we see with the late blink on the Sand King, then it's pretty hard for you to punish that. And then again, talking about the Lich pick, like, it's a good hero for static laning purposes. Like, it protects your tower in that lane. It usually wins whatever lanes it's in. It's not really so much about the roaming. And in that case, I don't think there's that much pressure really applied by Thunder, or at least not enough to really try and punish that and slow down the Death Ball. At some point, these guys just get together, they grab that Rosh, and then they just march down the lane, and there's not much you can do about it.
And you can see through a couple of these clips, the GH Tusk was very on point, and I think he got a lot of flack for his play in the group stage on that hero. He had a whole day.
He played bad that game, but this game he played really well.
Yeah, he was crushing, and I think their lineup just made a lot of sense. They had more damage, they had more survivability.
Yeah, but I felt like the Prophet as well, like, he took the farm, but he wasn't like doing like that. I felt like there was a lot of occasions where he could have split push, cut the waves. Like, he wasn't like very sure about what he was doing. He saw the enemy 5-manning down a lane. He just tries to push another lane instead of just cutting the wave behind and allow his teams to defend and clear the wave in front. I felt like there were a lot of things that they could have done better to slow down this Death Ball, but they just maybe weren't so, you know, in their comfort zone, so they weren't really sure about every little small detail. Because when you're delaying a push, every bit of detail counts. Every wave of creep counts.
And I think if you look at the team fight items they've picked up, like, there's the drums on the gyro, mech pipe on mind controls, Underlord, the Lich Armor, the medallion, even a buckler, the casual buckler, one of Puppy Crow's and my own favorite items to grab on a 5 support, just that little bit of extra armor. And I think I also underestimated just how strong this new Lone Druid build is. Helm of the Dominator, right into Radiance. You are so strong, you have a great timing, and, like, they got to a point where you just, they're just 5, and unbreakable Death Ball.
Do you think if the Sand King gets like an earlier blink, nothing would have changed?
I don't think so. I think that they would have needed, like, miracle fights, honestly, because the first Rosh, like, that sets up the whole game, and they have Underlord, Gyro, Lone Druid. It's such an easy Rosh, and there's no real way to ever have that lineup of VGJs scale faster. It's Lesh and Lycan. No one else really does any damage. And even the Doom, like, he dooms somebody, and then what? Like, he's not strong enough in that game to actually do consistent damage. Like, that's really what it comes down to, is who's doing the sustained DPS. Lycan's running into Lich ult, he has to run away. There's armor on top of it. And Leshrac just doesn't even have the mana pool or the survivability, just, like, run in the middle of 5 and just... And there's a pipe.
Okay, MVP?
GH.
Tusk, yeah, probably. Tusk.
Yeah.
GH made like so many really good plays, allowed them to circulate. Like, the reason why they did really well in the lanes was a lot of it has to do with the Tusk. I mean, the Lich is also a really good laning hero, but GH just did a lot.
Look at him.
How can you
I wouldn't
not
want
love
to
him?
fight that guy. Actually, I don't think
in game or out of game.
GH is actually such an awesome dude.
He is great,
I hadn't hung out with him ever until recently, like Poland. That was like my first interactions with him. He's just like the bro. Like he's just always got a smile on his face. If he sees you at breakfast, he'll say, you know, good morning, like nice to see you, and he's
loving life.
Yeah, not what you would expect.
Every moment of the day, that's for sure. All right, we're going to head to a break right now. Second game will be with us after that.